Hello, everybody. My name is Dare.
My name is Garrett.
My name's Jake.
And this is To Be Continued, where we continue all your favorite stories from movies, TV, and anything else pop culture related.
Today's topic, one of my personal favorites, Avatar: The Last Airbender, folks. Probably have a little Korra sprinkled in there a little bit too, here and there.
I feel like there's like a lot of fanboys and girls like kind of dying, or there's people like me who haven't really who know of the series, and everybody like kind of outcasted him in middle school when I wasn't keeping up with the episodes. Like they're like, "Yo, you didn't watch it?" I'm like, "Nah,
we don't want to talk to you."
I turned Nickelodeon off after Fairly Odd Parents. I'm sorry. That day I didn't catch it. But nevertheless, I feel like we've done enough research to kind of get a good conversation going of where this series could go and give you guys a few different perspectives as well.
Yeah, no, definitely excited.
Because I first started out watching like a few of the episodes like a lot, but then it kind of like fell off in like I think the end of season 2. Even though that's their best parts and stuff, I just like it was a long show, and plus like that was a time where like we got other things to do, we got school and homework, so I feel like I didn't keep up to dates because of that reason. But definitely when like towards the ending when everything was popping off, and then like Legend of Korra got me like rewatching a bunch of times. So I wasn't when it was out, I wasn't going crazy about it. But now that I'm like older and stuff and I can appreciate the stories more, it's like really that I like love the world of Avatar.
And that's kind of something that I've seen with this series, like really just across the board, is we watch it as it's airing for like our generation, like in middle school. But then when we're in our 20s, I also have friends who rewatch it and then they come at me saying it's like so much better, or they appreciate it more, or they see things that like this show stands out on the Nickelodeon catalog. Like if you honestly look at like the intro to SpongeBob, then you look at the intro to Fairly Odd Parents, then you look at the intro to Jimmy Neutron, and then it's like there was a war and a genocide with the Fire Nation, and then it's like, oh fuck, this is some real adult content, like but in a kid's package. You know what I mean?
I remember. When I first started watching,
never say kids package on a podcast, just to throw that out there. Well, tip number 1.
My first thing about Avatar. Wow, I was instantly obsessed with it, and it was the same thing. Like, I feel like it came up kind of like during a coming of age time for me. Like,
well, is this like the before Netflix? Is this what we had issues with? Because we couldn't like binge watch.
It was
so
on
we,
Netflix.
Like,
I thought Avatar was.
No, it's now on Netflix.
Yeah, but that's like high school.
The Last
that's
Airbender
like
is on Netflix right now.
I can picture it on the thing for some reason.
For at least
didn't Korra go on
Hulu?
Netflix? No,
Netflix or Hulu. But what I meant was that because we didn't keep up with it because I feel like we weren't in that binge watching time.
I don't know how I ever fell off.
It's definitely
watching
a different time.
Yeah.
Like because there was so there was so much I didn't see. I didn't see like the finale, the fight against the Fire Lord until probably I don't know 3 or 4 years ago. Well past when it was in its prime. When did it start? We were like 8 when it started.
I think it's like 2005 around there.
Something like that.
But what I want to say is that this show, in not only in tone, but the difference between all the other Nickelodeon shows in the sense that like you could watch a SpongeBob episode and then watch another one and they almost never reference each other. Yes. With this, while there are episodes that probably do fill, like I said, I haven't seen the whole series. From what I can see, man, there's a story going on and there's a plot being driven. Well, and that if you didn't see this one part, it may not you may not be completely lost if you know most of the series. Like you said, like you probably missed an episode here or there or whatever as a kid, but you're still on board. But I think each episode, if you watch them in sequence, like from what I can tell, they definitely complement each other and definitely drive the plot to like make you appreciate everything going on. And like
that's because they're really good at filler episodes.
Okay.
That the fillers don't feel like fillers. Like, because, I mean, definitely different from SpongeBob, how there's a different episode each week and they don't connect. Avatar has a bunch of episodes that really don't connect with the main plot and don't, like, not fast-paced.
But they're there for a reason.
Because they show character growth.
Character building.
They show a lot of, like,
world building, like for sure.
That's what I meant by appreciating more.
Yeah.
Like, if you miss that Zuko moment, like, later on, you're going to not maybe appreciate that other side of him or, like, have that perspective. You know what I mean? And, like, that contrast.
See, that's what people get mad about Legend of Korra about, because Legend of Korra was kind of built for an audience that's used to, I think it's like they're used to binge watching. They're used to seeing, like, I want to see a lot of it, I want to see a lot. So Legend of Korra is just strictly, like, plot-based, and it moves very fast throughout its seasons. Avatar with Aang, The Last Airbender, took its time.
Very slow building.
Very slow. With, like, filler episodes, but didn't feel like filler. It just felt like characters, them exploring the world.
I'm not trying to, like, repeat you exactly. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
So Korra was more fast paced.
Korra was fast-paced, action, and
yeah, they threw you right into it, right in the first episode.
But isn't that kind
she
of
was like 3 years old and she could do all the bending already? You know, it was completely took away the biggest thing of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was learning the elements.
So watching the first season of Airbender, the first one, from your guys' perspective or Jake's perspective or whatever, like, did it feel like they knew where they were going? I understand from the first episode. I've seen the first episode multiple times with my friend Hobie, and they do reference what the whole series is about. They reference the fact that he's gonna learn all the elements. That first hour-long episode.
I think that I'm like trying to think of how much world building was actually done in the first episode. Because it's like the beginning.
It was an introduction to the character and the
he's
stories,
stuck in the ice, right? Am I wrong? Is that not the first episode?
They definitely, it is the first. Okay. It's the very first episode.
They pretty much tell you everything in the actual beginning theme song.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. Yeah,
Last Airbender.
Okay, that's where that.
That's where that comes. They flat out tell you the direction of this story is gonna go. They just put a little doubt in you right before you watch the episode.
And the world needed the most. He vanished.
Yeah, and then because they tell you the whole exposition, Fire Nation attack, the Avatar can bend. It's all in the theme song, and then you just get to the story where you're at now.
Like you immediately learn that the Avatar is the master of all 4 elements.
They tell you the Avatar is
like the role of the Avatar in this world.
And so it's never said in the first episode that Aang has to learn all of it, but it's implied through the beginning sequence.
Obviously,
that
he
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, okay.
Destiny.
They say that he can't. That's when he he does a little airball at the end and then runs into a statue. And at that point, I think it's Katara that says he has a lot of learning to do before he saves the day or saves anyone.
But I believe Aang can save the world.
That's So they say that he has to learn all the elements and stop the war, pretty much in the theme song, and then you just watch it happen.
Okay.
But that's because they had clear direction. In Legend of Korra, they don't. They just have a.
I'm saying, don't you have a benefit from Korra's perspective when you're creating that show, knowing the fact that you have this audience built in with The Last Airbender? And then you're also maybe is there ever a gripe on your end about the first season saying that it's a slow burn? Does it speed up in season 2 versus 3 and 1?
It speeds up.
It does speed up. Yeah, you're right.
So then after 1, don't you think after that is greenlit, coming from a production standpoint, aren't you looking at it and you're like, okay, this is where we're going. We have our audience built in. Once you have that first season and you leave off on whatever cliffhanger, I'm assuming, because TV shows do that, there's a thing that they're hinting at, and then they're fucking like, oh, hell yeah, we're greenlit for season 2, 3, or whatever, let's fucking go balls to the wall, and then it speeds up. With Korra, it's almost like they already knew that there is going to be a continuation story, so it's almost like they had the benefit of being we're not going anywhere, so we can just go balls to the wall. Whereas when you're building the first episode of the first thing, you have to kind of be apprehensive, I feel like, from a creator's standpoint, at least a little bit.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And
that's the only thing, I'm coming from the perspective of, I have no attachment, but, if the sequel series has a little bit more of a fast pace, I almost feel like it's because Nickelodeon's no, make this great, and we got your back.
It was when that makes it almost feel rushed sometimes, at least from my perspective. I know a lot of people like Korra,
and that could be too much. Balls to the wall is a negative.
Well, the whole idea,
you know what I mean? That because it felt so rushed. One season there was with Avatar or the Airbender, you knew the main villain, that what he had to do, and you just watched it from season 1 and him grow into it. But with Legend of Korra, it was here's the bad guy at the end of the season. She has to defeat him by the end of the season. In Avatar, Aang, he had 3 seasons to beat the villain. He had to learn all the elements and beat the villain. But with Legend of Korra, it was just very fast and almost I'm trying to think superheroes.
The whole idea, they had done the Avatar: The Last Airbender because that was what are the names? DiMartino, the creators. That was the only. They only came with the story of Aang. A couple years later, Nickelodeon approached them and say, "Hey, do you have any more of this? We want some more." Is when they came up with Legend of Korra, and they just kind of
just like Star Wars
built this world, you know.
Where it's you first Star Wars, they have the plan telling of how it's gonna go, and they have a clear direction. They just take their time because they've worked on it so long, and then the following Avatar Korra is just it feels rushed almost.
Yeah, no.
Because
I do agree kind of with what you were saying though, because when you established a world and you establish your audience, you know exactly what direction you want to go.
It's easier to pick up.
And you know what kind of hits and kind of resonates with your audience, which would be the biggest things that I think that Korra got from Avatar is, for one, the fight sequences. Avatar has some of the best fight scenes in either series that I've ever seen in a cartoon.
This is really cool because it's all
really cool.
Well, I mean, because it was so mixed with like martial arts in the beginning.
Yeah.
They took
And
a lot
they
of
really-
influence from that.
Don't they actually like apply different styles of martial arts depending on which,
I think they
like-
do.
And they
Yeah.
based it on
Like,
character too.
Yeah, and I was
Like,
watching
yeah.
a video where this guy was like comparing actual martial artists of certain styles and then like showing the actual action of like waterbenders and being like, this is this thing, and I can't name them by. Tai Chi was
No,
one of
yeah.
them. I think Tai Chi
think
was the air
like
airbenders.
water bending.
The ones that where they go like, and I'm sorry guys, but like
Okay.
that one was the Tai Chi. That's all I
It
can.
reminded me of like a reptile move in Mortal Kombat. He does this like poison bubble. He just like raises it.
Yes.
That's what Garrett just did. He like raised it like this.
Big
Wait,
alligator.
Have you guys seen this is off track, but Soul Calibur 6?
No.
Have you seen the character creators? People are like
Oh, cool.
apparently the character creators are ridiculous. People are making like Thanos. I'm surprised I haven't seen an Airbender anything yet.
Dude,
Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah.
want to see an
No
Avatar
joke, dude, the
video
character
game.
creator is so diverse that someone is able to make Thanos look like Thanos purple with the
Yeah.
gauntlet. His finishing move,
Oh, it was-
Snap.
it
it's
was-
sick. It's like, oh shit, like they have hella animations for a snap to even be on there. Like I don't think they
Yeah.
did that like for someone to only make
Yeah,
Thanos.
make that, yeah,
but
but it's
if you're an
just
Airbender fan, why
creative.
don't you go get some Soul Calibur 6 and send us some videos? 'Cause
Well,
I
see,
want to check those out.
That would be cool to continue it, to see the show turn into like a really good game, like Injustice style or Mortal Kombat, like some
like
fighting.
a free roam kind
Yes,
of
but-
GTA kind of deal.
That's interesting.
I'm sure there's like some computer games.
I know
like War Raid
Platinum
or something
made
like that.
Legend of Korra games, but I don't think they were fighting.
I don't
No
know.
way,
I
really?
think it's more like
Yeah, Platinum Games has made a Legend of Korra game. It's a third person action game, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll have
I heard
to
it was
give that a
terrible.
look-see.
Like that's
I'd
why you
believe
haven't
it.
heard
because
of
a
it.
lot
Yeah.
of those like focus on the story. Like a lot of it's like the problem when you take a movie to video game because
Right.
it's like they try to follow the story, but we want to play the world. You know?
And I felt bad for fans, like from my perspective, because like when that game was coming out in like 2016, 2015, I'm trying to think, I was like working at Toys R Us still, so it was around that era.
cool.
Um,
Around the Toys
Best
R Us
job
era.
yeah,
ever.
around the Toys R Us era. But I remember like hearing about Platinum making a Korra game, and everyone was so excited. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my fucking god! The people who made like Bayonetta, they're gonna
Yeah.
make Platinum, like, or they're gonna make a Legend of Korra game. Like, picture that fighting style. Like, oh my god!" And then it's like the C-level team on Platinum Games just made like this throwaway title. Like, it wasn't the
Yeah.
same team who made like
That's
the
super
best
sad.
Platinum Games. Like, Platinum Games is huge for people who don't know. So they have like 5 teams working on 5 different games at once. So like when a Platinum game comes out, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get unless you really look into which team made what. Like Bayonetta, that team was still making Bayonetta 2 at that point. So
Yeah,
like
so you
that
want to
wasn't
see like
announced.
you want to see a good
I felt
game
so
made by
bad for
good people.
fans.
You know, like
You want to see good content from the
Yeah.
worlds, and like that kind of brings us into this whole like to be continued. Like
Ooh.
Darius,
yes.
how are you gonna continue this?
Well, I was gonna say,
What you got?
well, it would be cool to see. First, what kind of bending would you guys have?
I
I'm
would.
sorry,
Ooh,
this is
the
off track.
hardest
We'll
part ever.
continue in just a
Can you
second,
guys
but I want to
explain
know.
blood bending? I feel like this
Oh
is a
my
good
God.
time for you guys to
Okay,
Why are
explain.
we
I'll
going for that? That's evil.
I'll
No, I'm not. I just is that a water bending?
It's a water bending.
attribute?
Yes,
Like,
I looked it
anyone
up.
who
Okay.
wants-
You can explain
So
it. yeah.
blood bending.
Okay. you're-
First of all, is
so
fucking
excited about
badass.
this.
I am very excited. So
Yeah.
it's because you use the water in blood to control the
That's what
blood
I
in
figured.
someone's
Yeah.
body.
Anyone who water bends.
I looked it up and I'm like,
It's a-
how
yes,
much percent? How much water is actually in blood? And I looked it up and it's something crazy, like 97% or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it's a
70%.
lot.
Yeah, we're
And
like, what are we like? Dude, I
We're
wanna say,
we're like 98%
yeah,
water or
it's like
something
a
like
lot
that.
of water in
yeah.
our body. I think it's lower than
Yeah, I
that.
think-
I think it's like
98
78 or
Look at
something.
all the
8%.
organs
And then I'm
in
also
here, yeah.
thinking like maybe it's the stat of how much water is on the globe. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm also mixing those.
No, the
stats.
world is 70%. Oh no, yeah.
No, that's why I said
yeah, no,
78%. So I was like, damn.
Is
maybe,
that a
maybe
human or the planet?
Yeah.
What is that? No,
It's funny how our brains remember dumb stats like that, but
At
like
school.
don't act like from school
Yeah,
though.
from
Like
school.
it's in every
certain things
textbook.
that- yeah, because you want to pass the test. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
But I don't
60
actually know like the
60%
bending-
of human body is
60
water.
Okay, 60%. A little
That's
lower than the
still-
planet.
That's more than half of me.
Yeah, it is more than half.
That's enough to control like a good amount of me,
Yeah.
you know?
Roughly.
So that's what waterbending is when they do that. Is like it's almost like they're pulling the veins and like moving
Yeah.
your like blood in your body to
And they
move
can
and
kill
do
'em.
things. You can kill them. You can contort them and twist them. It's literally like a horror like
Avatar
effect.
has the potential to get so dark.
And that's oh my god, it's beautiful. It's dark. It's passionate. It's everything. It's emotion. So okay, well, real quick, let's figure out what's our
Okay,
bending.
I
and
would
we'll-
honestly want to be. I just remembered because I would
It's
want
based
to
on
be.
like personality, but like or well,
Ah,
not really.
dude, I don't
It's
know.
based
like,
on where you're.
is it like the Harry Potter houses?
Yeah, pretty
Is
much.
there a sorting
kinda.
hat or is it like
No,
from birth? Or?
It's from birth, like
Alright.
where you live.
Is it
like,
genetics?
Is
I
there
guess
just
it's normal
normal
genetics.
dudes?
Genetics.
Is there just normal dudes, or is everyone a part of a nation?
Yeah, you
It
have.
would suck to be a normal dude though.
Yeah, I feel like that would suck ass, but like,
That
is there
would
normal
be the
dudes?
worst. There is normal
Even
dudes.
the coolest normal guy in Amon and then Legend of Korra, he was like a normal dude that could do all sorts of like martial arts and all that stuff.
Spoiler warning,
But then
Amon was a waterbender, yeah.
Exactly. That spoiler, he's a waterbender.
God!
Like, oh yeah, spoiler warning for the entire Avatar Last Airbender and Korra series.
Jake, what bending would you have?
You know what? I've given this a lot of thought.
Okay.
I think I'd go with earthbending.
Okay, why are you an
because
earthbender?
I'm an earthbender because I'm blunt. No, I'm just kidding. No, because for one, you can lava bend, badass,
Okay.
and
Wait,
you can
lava
metal
bend?
bend.
You can lava
yes,
bend. It's
lava
like
bending
moving
exists.
the rocks. Like an earthbender can move
Changing
the rocks
like
so fast.
the stage of
But, like-
matter, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what
no.
about like?
Shouldn't firebending have
Yeah.
lava
That's
bending?
what I kind of thought. No,
It's the-
firebending
yeah.
has lightning bending.
Yeah, that's what it extends to. So there's the, you know how you just said blood bending?
Yeah.
So with, I got you.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, okay,
With
okay,
like
okay.
water bending, their bending evolves. So at like it evolves with creativity and like how skilled you are that you can start bending other things. So
Yeah.
earth, water, fire, and air are the basics, but you then like some benders can master it so well that they can like
Move on to other things.
move on to other things.
Right.
Like
Channel the parts of it.
water has ice and it has like swamp bending and it also has the blood bending. Earth bending has metal bending. It also has lava bending. And if you can't do one thing, you probably do another.
There's so many weird like
combinations,
iterations
yeah.
of that because there's two characters that are firebenders that shoot fire from their mind.
Oh,
Like they can
like
literally
combustion.
shoot,
It's a weird,
Yeah,
like spiritual,
it's really,
almost,
really
like,
weird.
firebending technique.
but it's badass.
But
It-
usually you need fire already existing.
Well, you need
Uh-huh.
to. It comes from like within, like almost. It's like running. It's like a very body like thing.
So is
It's like peeing. It's how
all
you
right,
pull
all
water.
right. So are they more like
What?
Human Torch, or are they more like Pyro from X2?
Human
do they
Torch.
need
They
the-
can produce the fire
Okay,
themselves.
alright,
Yeah.
cool.
But it's
Yeah.
weird because waterbending, like you can't. No other. It's air and fire that you can create your own bending material. I
Well,
guess
air's
we'll put it
around
that
you.
way.
Air's around you, but the fire.
Well, technically,
comes
so
with
is
it.
fire.
So
Kind
can
of.
air people
Well,
just
oxygen,
fly,
you
or
use
what?
burn
Well, that's what I'm saying. You move.
Okay.
You make things move together.
Yeah.
Like you kind of combust things, and it comes from within, and it's like passion.
So what about how much?
What's going on? What's going on? It's
So
okay.
like, if there's a fire,
yes.
you know, there's just a fucking huge fire.
Yeah.
As an airbender, can I suck the oxygen out of the fire?
Yeah, you could. You could
Ooh,
like.
I'm sure you probably could.
They
So
do
you're-
that all the time. They put out fires. They just go like they move their arms.
Oh,
and, like,
remember?
the
Okay,
fire
there's this
disappears.
scene where there's an
a
actual
rock, paper,
evil
scissors.
airbender, and he has to kill someone, so he uses airbending to take all the air out of someone's body to suffocate them.
Yeah.
That happens.
Dark.
Yeah.
No,
That's in Legend of Korra.
potential to be dark.
Legend of Korra
So-
has like a lot of the evolved.
so I could
stuff
just-
with it. Yeah.
Suck the air out of people. I could extinguish fires really well. What else? Can I fly?
Funny that you say that.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
I feel like I
so
could project the air, displace the air around.
The
okay,
normal
this is one of
airbender
my
can, like-
favorite parts. A normal
Okay,
airbender can't
hold
like
on.
technically
Yeah.
fly, but okay. So there was a villain, the same evil airbender that suffocated.
Okay.
So
Same person.
He
That's
mastered this form of airbending where essentially you get away, quote unquote, from all your earthly tethers, so you have no attachment to the physical
good. It's a
world.
spiritual thing where you just kind of like let go of all matter.
You let go of all matter and you can become weightless and fly.
It's more, yeah. It's like you
Okay.
evolve. Like it's just very like
So would you? Is it more like Superman or more like a flying squirrel?
you look like
Superman.
Superman?
Most
Yeah.
But that's at like that's a
But
very
okay, I'm
skilled
falling
point.
off a cliff.
You're fine. You can fly.
I can. Will I at
That's-
least land gracefully?
Dude, it's so funny how like on
It's-
point you're being in the actual series because those are two things. You can fly, and the first time you found out that he flew, he jumped off a cliff.
Oh. I'm just trying to figure out what scenario is going to benefit my life the best. So then, like firebending,
With the
you got
fi-
lightning, and
with-
then
yeah.
what else? What other like cool things have people done besides the combustion? Is there anything else? Like,
With-
I just feel like that's kind of whack if I'm like a very basic level dude.
That's
and
why
I
it
gotta
just
light
takes skill and
something, and then
practice.
like you know, like
Yeah.
like I'm basically just an aerosol can at that point.
With I mean, it depends on how you like use your craft and master your craft. With a firebender, you can fly too. You just use your like fire to propel you upwards,
That
and
makes
like you
sense,
can
okay.
like you
Like a
can use it
rocket.
creatively.
Yeah.
It's almost
Hell
like a
yeah.
resource that you
Propulsion.
can just like pull together with your like how
Uh-huh.
creative you are, or there's like spiritual ways, or I feel like I don't know if this is true or not, but I was watching it like a clips of it. Iroh fights not like he's one of the firebenders. He doesn't fight like a regular firebender. He fights like a mixture of like a waterbender and an airbender. It's very graceful, defensive, and like you can use your ability but fight like a different style, and it's like it's really weird how like different people are connected to their firebending and waterbending and stuff like that.
God, there's so much. I remember one day I spent like 2 hours on like an Avatar wiki, just like reading more shit. You know?
Yeah, no, there's so much to like
so much
the
to
world.
it.
So,
All right,
what's your pick?
my pick is. I was thinking I'm more of a waterbender. I feel very like fluid and can like. Yeah, I move like I'm not like stubborn like a rock. I'm not angry all the time.
You should hear him
like
freestyle,
a
guys.
I'm not like completely light as air. So I feel very like fluid. So I think I'd be a cool waterbender. I would use that as an ice bender though. What would you?
All right, you know, man.
What kind of?
I don't know these like different character traits, but I just think from the cool factor, I feel like water has the coolest beneficiaries. Yeah. Air would be a close. Air and earth are pretty tied for me.
Okay.
And then fire to me just still sounds so whack. Like I just feel like they're just like not like they're. If I'm an airbender, and I know there's only one in this world, correct?
Well, yeah.
Like
in Legend of Korra, there's more, but in Avatar: The Airbender, and that's because the Fire Nation committed genocide on all the airbenders. Yeah, okay. And then Aang's the last one.
That's why I called them Nazis as I left the room earlier.
Pretty
low key,
like,
yeah.
And then it's a lot of it feels like it sometimes. You see a lot of the parallels in that time period.
Imperialism.
But if I'm an airbender, I can just kind of fuck a firebender shit up, right? That's why they.
You can what?
Like I just like.
Hey,
if he like put a big fire in front of me, I could just suck all that.
If he's more skilled than you, I'd watch out though.
Yeah, I feel like in theory you could do that, but they definitely didn't do that
way.
in this series. Like it was like a total mismatch having the airbenders versus the firebenders.
That's why that's why they wanted to kill him first, man. That's why they like.
Okay.
Well, that was because of the Avatar.
What was so the Avatar was the reason is that this guy could learn all the different powers, so we want to get rid of that lineage just from history.
Okay, so
yes,
the
exactly.
the point of the genocide.
The Avatar is the one who can pretty much master all states, and he's supposed to bring balance to the world.
Is the Avatar always an airbender?
No.
Okay.
They go through the motions.
It rotates.
The Avatar before Aang was a firebender, and so when the firebender died,
a big asshole.
No, he was really cool. Yeah,
he's a really cool guy. He
died. Okay,
he was betrayed.
He was betrayed.
Spoilers.
He died. Spoilers. Major spoilers.
This is the beginning.
Yeah.
This is before they even the show starts.
Prequel spoilers. So pretty much like it's so sad. It's so sad. But the whole reason for the genocide is the Fire Nation, the Fire Lord knew that the Avatar was going to be reincarnated into an airbender, so he took the liberty of being proactive and pulled the genocide on the Air Nation in an attempt to stop the bloodline and kill the Avatar
in the Avatar state,
and end it. So then there would cease to be any avatars.
Damn.
And okay, if you're thinking like, why didn't that would be dumb? He would just reincarnate. You can kill the Avatar. Well, actually, no one's done this successfully. But if the Avatar is in the Avatar state and you kill him, then there's no more Avatars.
He
the
will
Avatar
not be
state is like a spiritual moment.
In the ice?
It's like a mix of all the spirits
together.
together.
Alive during the ice.
Is it like a metapod turning into a butterfree?
Yes.
It's got to focus for those 4 levels.
Yes.
It's like Limitless when he takes the pill.
When you use Harden so many times. So to continue Avatar,
first of all, I was so sad. I love Legend of Korra, but I would have loved a series following Aang while he was an adult.
Hold on, wait. Yeah. Can I just get you guys' analysis based on what you guys know about my personality? What would you pinpoint me as?
Okay, yeah.
And you can say fire. I will not be that man. I will not be that man.
I honestly think you have the personality of an airbender.
Cool.
You have high energy. You know, you're funny. You kind of remind me of Aang and your energy
into the world. Yeah. I can do some stuff.
Cool.
I can do some stuff.
I like to break wind every now and again.
You don't have to let. Oh God.
Get the fuck out.
That was both our responses. Just
To Jake from Darius and Garrett. Get the fuck out.
That's
game
me.
over. No.
Okay. All right.
Anyway. All right. You were talking about your idea. You wanted to see the continuum of Aang and the gang.
Dude, think about it. Aang and the gang. Okay, we kind of talked about this.
Series, Aang and the gang.
There you go.
Well, think about how many questions we're still after. I mean, the Avatar is 12 years old.
Okay.
There's effectively a new leader of the most powerful nation in the world, the Fire Nation, and it's Prince Zuko. How old is he? 20 or something? He's like
I don't know how
18 at the end of the series.
Yeah,
Isn't Aang young?
Aang's young. He's like
12.
12.
No, he's like
He's 12 in the
14
beginning
when
of
he
the
beats
series.
the Avatar or beats the
Fire Lord.
Fire Lord. He's like 14. So he starts out as 12 and then he ages, as the story goes on.
Okay.
So you want to see just the continued of like what do they do now
So
that
did
the
he
Fire
peak
Lord.
high, like early in life or what? Like,
Yeah, I guess. It is kind of
like
if
did he
you're
ever do anything like cooler than that?
Then what?
Like later on in life, did Aang ever did we ever know anything like through Korra, like
He
Kinda.
eventually builds a city.
like the Jedi Temple?
Exactly that. He tries to rebuild his race. He like teaches others and so.
Bro, I'm just laughing because I
guessing
keep
and you're on point.
He really does. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He
I
tries
just
to
made that
recreate
one
like
Star Wars comparison, and then as we talk more, I'm just like that sounds
Well, I mean,
like just thematically. There's a
similarities
lot of
is
similarities
uncanny.
about
Yes.
the like chosen one and like the
hey man, quality.
right.
Quality repeats quality. This happens.
real recognize
Game
real.
recognized game. I was like, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So, well, I mean,
You never see. Okay, I would love to
picture
see
Aang in the gang story.
Aang in the gang.
Yes.
Let's join him
I
at
love
like
this name.
age
That's so
20,
good.
Age 20. Okay. So you want to see him when he's like more.
still pre-facial hair,
But what's going on?
Okay.
because they actually show like a picture of him and he's like tall and has facial hair, and it's just kind of
You
weird.
see him when he's 40 again. In Legend of Korra, you see like flashbacks or you
How old was
see.
he when he died?
He was
Never said.
60. I think he's around his 60s when he dies, or the 67. Yeah, no, he's around his 60s when he dies.
Okay.
He had an early death. I
How did
forgot-
Aang die?
Ooh, that I actually don't know. But that's why you still have Katara and
heard it was
Zuko and
Ligma.
stuff around in
Ligma
Legend
killed
of
Aang.
Aw.
Poor Aang.
Oh yeah, all of them are still
Ligma's
around.
good at everybody.
Yeah, Toph is still around. Katara is still around. Like he died pretty early compared
If
to
you
them.
just type in how did it just starts filling in blank died, like all
Oh
the
my
most
God.
recent celebrities. I was like, damn.
Dude, Google wants to guess who's like died.
Like, yeah.
I remember. I did look this up because it was
Dude.
he spent 100 years in the fucking ice.
Oh, he didn't die of old age. He like, which is weird, right?
So he was 12 plus 100 plus 54. What? He was 166.
66. Wow, you got that right. Wow.
Yeah. Dude,
Wow,
I told you, man.
166 years old.
I
Physically.
know what happens. I know all about your Aang and the gang story, but please continue. Okay.
Jeez.
Who's the Han Solo type character?
Sokka.
Okay.
So
Sure.
Sokka doesn't have any bending,
Sokka's
and you're
Sokka
right
has
on
too
board.
much-
Is Sokka the guy? God damn it, man!
What'd you
Come
say?
on.
What'd you say?
He's like, who's Han
Is he the
Solo? And
comedic-
it's Sokka.
and is
It is
he
He's
Sokka.
comedic relief.
Oh my
he
God.
has a you know how Han Solo has his blaster?
Yes.
He has a sword.
He has a sword.
Oh my fucking.
Oh, and a
And
boomerang.
a boomerang. And a
Oh
boomerang.
my God.
In the
Does he have a
beginning-
furry friend, a companion?
Aang does.
Okay.
Aang
Right.
does have he has Appa,
There's
and
no-
then there's Momo.
There's no. There's none of that.
Appa's pretty close to a Chewbacca-ish character because they do
Not,
talk.
but I mean, yeah.
Is Appa
Yes,
the
no.
big buffalo?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bison.
Yeah, I get you.
The Arab
What's
bison.
the
no,
long hair?
Sky Bison.
What's
Sky
the,
bison.
What's the
Big
lemur
ears?
looking thing?
That's Momo.
Momo.
What
Yeah.
is what is that?
It's a lemur.
flying
thing.
lemur.
It's, yeah.
Or,
It's a fly-
Who's
yeah, it can fly.
owns
It can
the
fly.
lemur?
Aang.
He has
Aang-
2 pets?
He has 2 pets. First pet was him before Ice, and he had a sky bison because all avatars.
I remember that.
All airbenders have Sky Bison that are bonded for life.
Yeah, they pick their sky bison. In
Sky Bison picks them.
Okay.
a lot of the characters, there's an animal like sidekick.
You
A
don't
lot
pick
of them,
the
there's
Sky
like an
Bison.
animal
Sky
sidekick.
Bison picks you.
I
Huh?
did not
What?
like Korra's. It was just a
polar bear
giant
dog.
dog.
Polar bear dog.
Oh, that thing's weird looking. I've seen that.
It
That was the
like-
original design for Aang. He was
What was
supposed to
the
have a
name of
polar
it?
bear dog.
What?
A polar bear dog, right?
No, like the actual fucking name of.
Oh,
what
his.
was-
Oh, I don't know the name of
Johnny on the spot.
it. I don't know.
Damn it.
Billy.
Okay, so Aang and the gang, you just want to see what continues their stories. Like, what did they do from there? And
Like you
how
want to
should they
see
grow up,
like
because he builds up a city, kind of like New York City, almost.
could
Like,
there be
Exactly like
Yeah.
yeah,
Could
totally.
there be more wars or would it be a peaceful?
It would be more like one-offs.
okay.
We kind of threw around this idea that because Zuko just became the Fire Lord, that he would have to kind of prove his worth and kind of take control of his kingdom. He's 18 years old. He's obviously gonna have older, more wiser leaders who want to take his power away. That
In
makes
his
sense.
story, like he tries to restore peace with his Fire Nation instead of it's literally like Germany and how the Nazis were not Nazis.
Nazis killing Nazis.
That was weird. The Nazis are Germany is more like, oh sorry, after the war, and they try to like
Oh, sorry.
so the Nazis turn into
Sorry.
Canadians.
Jesus.
But that's pretty much it. Zuko's like, oh, we need to rebuild like our relationships with different countries and
Yeah,
stuff
I'm like, bro,
that.
you can't just like act like nothing happened. Y'all gotta pay some reparations or something. You destroyed They literally did like a Holocaust.
They did.
Wow,
Yeah,
the similarities.
they did. They did.
Just like the Empire did Jedi.
All right, did Aang kiss his sister accidentally?
What?
No,
All right,
he
just
didn't.
checking. Just
Nah, everyone
that
died.
happened to Luke. I know.
Yeah,
I
dude,
just
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to make sure they didn't take
nah.
that.
You're wrong.
All right.
Dude.
Oh, shit! Damn. So
You guys-
fuck.
that was the one.
Who falls in love with who? Where's the love
Oh.
interest?
Aang
Who
and
ends up
Katara.
with- okay.
Aang and
That
Katara.
takes way
There's a
too
lot
long.
for like Zuko and Katara. There's a lot of people saying they should be together, and they make fun of it in the show. It's funny, but
Awkward.
Zuko's
super
the Han
awkward.
Solo dude.
No, that's Sokka.
Sokka, gotcha.
Sokka is Katara's brother.
That's
Zuko's,
why I was like weirded out. I was like, I thought that was his.
Zuko's the
sister.
Darth Vader type.
Did,
Kind of
did,
like-
it, did those siblings
Only like
ever kiss
opposite.
accidentally?
Wait, hold on, what?
No.
Why are you so into these
No,
incest?
I'm just just trying to find these similarities. Fuck you guys.
That's the similarity you're looking for. Oh, sorry. Don't pout.
I
It's
felt like
okay.
there was like 8 check marks I needed, and I
Okay.
hit 7 of them.
Yeah,
So
just
Yeah,
about.
that was the
no,
last one.
I think okay.
Are there light
So-
swords? No.
There's a space sword. Hey, there's a space
You're back on
sword.
track. There's what?
A space sword.
Space sword.
Sokka's sword
Oh.
comes from a comet.
There's okay, yeah. A comet hits the Earth and they like turn into a sword.
They-
That's a nice episode.
Forge it.
Okay, so you saying there's an episode all about, or Aang is all about kind of war, Korra is all about politics. I propose to be continued religious wars, like the Crusades,
Wow.
but with like different spirits. And so in the Aang universe, there's like different spirits. There's like the light, the good spirit is in all the avatars, and then there's a dark spirit too. There's like good and evil, and then there's a lot of like
Vatu
spirits.
and Rava.
Yeah,
or something?
Vatu, Rava. But it would be cool to see like tribes value different spirits and then go to war over like who's better and who's right and all that stuff. I want to see that played out, but with an avatar that has to balance both the spirits and the humans.
So this is
I'm
hell in
telling
the
you,
future?
that happened
No,
already.
I was thinking this in the way past.
They did it in
Oh, in the
Korra.
past, I'm sorry.
in Korra. No, but not like that. They didn't have religious wars in Legend of Korra. They had an evil dude wanting his own evil avatar. Kind of. They did a really good and bad story, but I want to see like tribes value their spirit over others and like fight to find like common meaning and respect between one another. Like the whole I don't know, because spirits were a bigger deal back then. But
Would
then
that
they
take
start going
place
out.
after Korra?
No, I'm talking before Aang. Like
Oh,
you could
okay,
throw
okay.
that in the
Yeah.
beginning.
That's where my head got lost a little
I'm
bit.
like,
Yeah,
what?
sorry.
No, the prequel thing makes sense
Yeah.
though. That makes
Like
sense.
Yeah.
if you're gonna do something on Netflix, I don't want like a retelling. I want you to see like more into the world and the story, or just like continue it. Like I don't want to see the same story twice. You know,
Agreed.
Definitely.
like
Me
Aang
either.
was cool for what it was. Korra, there were some really good things out of that, but I'd like to see like a different avatar.
I would love to see a prequel kind of. I would love to see an Earthbender
An Earthbender as
as the
the
Avatar.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, what can you like balance out? Like what can you like fight? Because that's like the main thing is the reason why Avatar like can master all his elements is because it's his duty to like balance out the world.
Uh huh.
It's pretty much the ultimate babysitter. Just be like, hey, stop it, kids. Like,
Slap
Stop
that
hands.
wrist.
but I don't know. I would like to see like spirits. That'd be my idea. What about twins? What are you thinking of?
Twin avatars. Yeah. What's going on in that little?
In Garrett's
little.
brain going on. I
Ladies
see the
and
picture.
gentlemen, the people of the council.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
There's one way to continue this series.
Yes.
There's one way. I need you to answer one question for
Yes.
me.
Okay.
Does the first series end on a positive, peaceful note?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Does it feel
First
like
season or first-
equilibrium has been found?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Okay. All right.
Drum roll, please.
I want a buddy cop series.
Okay.
I want it to be Aang.
Okay.
I want it to be Sokka. I want them each riding like sick ass fucking like like fucking horses or like,
Horses?
fucking like sick ass shit.
Big ass sky
All right?
bison.
All right, and
Okay.
then this.
Yes.
This is a 5-part series.
Oh my God. Okay.
And if you've ever seen End of Watch, I want it shot exactly like End of
Oh,
Watch.
wow.
I want it shot exactly like End of Watch. And
So that's how Sokka died.
And the thing about this is that like it picks up like it's the next day or like like very very quickly after, not too long after. But they have like fucking stubble. They just look rough. Like they've been through divorces. Like
God.
it looks like they've been through some shit. And I'm like, damn, dude, like. Damn, like,
Aang's like 50 going on 150.
Yeah. but it still just feels like everything else didn't age as much as they did. Like everyone else, all the other characters are still looking good. Like everyone else is looking like they didn't. But I want the grit. I want the fucking stress of like saving the fucking world and then having the idea and realizing that there's not anything else in the rest of your life that will ever amount to the same amount of quality or praise. So this guy is going crazy with his best fucking friend, his number one partner. He's like dragging him along with him because he's trying to amount to something more. And that's what I'm saying. If you ever played, I'm saying that this shit was on like Fox Kids and now it's on FX. This is FX version of this shit, and they're just fucking. And like I said, if you've seen End of Watch, you know where that's going. You know that this tirade to try and amount to the best of his ability at the age of fucking 14 saves the world. What are you doing at 20, dog?
It's like a child star, bro.
You're Macaulay Culkin at this point.
Star. Oh my God.
You're Macaulay Culkin trying to start a YouTube channel and going crazy because you. I'm saying that if like these child stars don't amount to something, then they go to YouTube. But then the ones that really don't amount to something and where the reality sits in is when you like are on Nickelodeon and then that following doesn't go onto YouTube and you have 10,000 followers with 500 views and then you're like, but I was on TV. I was in like, you know what I mean? Like,
are you referencing
like the guy
Josh
who was
Peck?
Josh Peck. I'm like, I was thinking the guy from That's So Raven. What was his name?
Corey,
the crazy one?
Corey
Orlando
in the house.
Bloom or whatever?
No.
Corey.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right. Orlando
because
something.
he was just arrested.
Not Orlando Bloom.
It was the
Yeah,
one.
Orlando something.
I wish
Yeah,
Orlando
so-
Bloom was in That's So Raven. That would have been wonderful.
Damn.
That'd been weird.
I'd have actually watched it.
Orlando
He'd
Brown.
be way too old
That's
for
what
like
his name
Ravens.
is.
Like
Orlando
that
Brown.
generation.
That is
But
his name.
yeah, that is his name. But yeah, I think
Okay.
we are looking over. I think the people of the council need to understand that there is a big pressing problem in this lore, and that is the fact that this kid is so fucking young, and they're not thinking about the PTSD, the stress that will come with the rest of your life. You know that feeling after high school where you're like, "What the fuck am I gonna do?" Imagine that at 14. You're gonna get into drugs.
Honestly,
well, to be fair,
you're gonna be fucking
that
everybody.
feels like
fair-
Captain America. when he
No. Listen to
returns
this. To be fair,
icon.
like he already had so much direction. He was super mature, and he had so much shit to do on his to-do list. I don't think that he would be washed of Avatar until like age 25 or 30.
Honestly,
My show. This is my show.
guys, I'm so down with this idea because now I'm thinking of like what happens when the military soldier comes home and has to deal with like normal day to day.
That's what I'm saying.
He
man.
no longer
gonna
has
be-
a big destiny.
doesn't have a
claimed
destiny.
it. So now what does he do?
But
And
he's
like,
14. That's what when you guys said
No,
he
no,
was
he's
14.
not. I know.
Like, you know what I mean? That blew my mind. Where I'm like, damn, like
Yeah.
you really peaked
You're right.
early.
You peaked
Like,
early.
You did
and if
peak.
I peaked that early, I'd be like, fuck. I'm sad now at 23. Like I won
I'm
the
sorry if this
decathlon
relates to
at 13.
anybody.
Yeah. But this
Sorry,
is real
Macaulay.
things,
If
and
you're in
I'm,
your car listening,
as
to
someone
this-
who hasn't seen the series, I can't talk about whose son is going to be best placed in future. But if I knowing what I know, this is the direction that would interest me. I would watch this would make me watch the other ones that they announced in FX series that was going to go real dark and get into the like imagine like someone bloodbending someone but really going to the nth degree.
So
and
could
seeing
this
that.
could this sequel series be live action?
No.
I keep picturing it like this weird like have you ever seen Wolf Among Us by Telltale?
Wolf Among Us.
No.
No.
It's a game and it's like based off these like comic strips and it's about like after all the fairy tales existed, like all these fables, like
Okay.
through
Oh,
the
wait,
pigs
yes.
and shit. And then it's like the big bad wolf is like they basically take like all the fairy tales and they move them into a subsection of like New York. And then like
please
there's
remind me
police.
of this. That sounds dope. That
It's
sounds
so
like
sick.
That sounds
It's
like
so
American
sick.
Gods.
It's
but
one of my
like with
favorite. Exactly,
fairy
like
tale
kind of
Put the reminder in your
exactly,
phone.
dude.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the comic book you'd be way into that. It might be even like more of on the graphic novel side. I don't know.
Dude,
exactly
I'm way
how
into
it's
the
acted.
idea right now because
Yeah.
I love personification.
But you basically
But
pay. You play as the.
I love that literally too.
It's no, but I do too, dude. Like I'm with
I love
you. Yeah,
personification.
I know.
Woo! Next
Dude,
episode.
I should have majored in English.
To
Maybe
be
I would have got my
continued.
degree.
Oh,
To be
wow.
continued.
Too soon.
Personification. No, what was I gonna? Oh, but
We
you
were
play as
going-
the big bad wolf, and you're like the
Oh, no,
sheriff
no.
of the
Okay.
city with all these guys, and like you walk in and like you're ripping off the arm of like the fucking like. I'm spacing on people's names, but like basically like the premise is that someone chopped off Snow White's head, and you're trying to figure out who's murdering all these like fairies. And you're like, what the fuck? And you're the big bad wolf. So you're
Wait,
like,
are you talking to have like a darker continuation series about Avatar? Like
that's
it's
why
like,
he said, could it be live action? I'm saying every time I talk about these like stubbled things,
Oh, it's
I'm
like the
so
realist
deriving,
version of like.
I'm deriving straight from that like Wolf Among Us. Now that I think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it, like
No,
that's
no,
what
I-
it's is existing in my head. So when you say live action, that show like the big bad wolf looks like a man. Like he's scary.
I like
he
the-
has like hair on his chest, but he's also a wolf. Like he has like. So I'm saying I could picture it, but I'm also not attached to this like cartoony shit. So
See,
like
that's the thing.
You guys would be like fuck no, and I'm like yeah, it could.
It could be good and it could be bad. If you do it like Star Wars, where you have Luke Skywalker now,
This
a
is like an
disgruntled-
Elseworld story, in my opinion.
Well, okay.
This is like at the end of my series, like Aang wakes up and he's like next to Katara in like the bed or whatever the fuck, and then like.
I mean, that's what happens at the end. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
No. I hear what you're saying. I think it would be cool to see something like that after Korra. I feel like that because I don't think you should change those characters
Right.
with such an extent like that. But
Right.
it would cool to be getting that kind of tone in that universe and world. I definitely think that
fits
should
better
be
with Korra.
well, yeah.
But didn't
As like where the universe is going and stuff like that.
did someone say that they wished it was like it could like no, you guys didn't say it wished it could, but you were saying how it could be dark.
It would be cool to
Oh,
see
it
like
would
a
have
dark
the total potential
So
to be dark.
could it-
If it really was like they could make it like a Ren and Stimpy. Like, do you remember how they like did like the dark Ren and Stimpy or whatever?
Well, when we say dark, I think we mean like emotion, like a lot of like
Okay, yeah.
stakes and
like
a lot
Attack
of like,
on Titan, it could go all the way
personal, like,
upwards too. Like,
yeah.
a level of violence and gore.
dark doesn't mean like necessary gratuitous like
Right.
killing and stuff like that. It just means more like
I wonder if that was ever one of their thoughts. Like, if like should we
Aang
make
Aang
this?
should well, no, Aang doesn't kill. But
Well, like,
that's the
it-
whole point. Yeah,
Like they could, because you think about how many times they shot like spike fucking ice.
rocks and things at each
Yeah,
other.
like how is
people
there no
have
blood?
that.
I feel
Well,
like
it's
there
a
could be
kid show,
really
yeah.
dark
Oh.
version of all of these powers.
Pause.
That,
I would
like if you
love
put them in
that.
like a suburban tone, like of
Yeah.
like Breaking Bad, but then like fucking everyone has like these little powers. Like there could be some dark shit going on, dude. That's all I'm saying.
The
like,
world
it
building
would be
is
fun
really
to
good.
play in that
Yeah.
soundbox, like
Yeah,
in this like looking through that lens, like with the right director, right team. Like there could be something kind of cool, but it would have to like if it was ever at all, if people couldn't get past the point where it could never be Aang. If this like if we were
Yeah.
being honest.
yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah.
It
No.
would never be Aang. It would be such an Elseworld. In
It would be
future
the
things that,
Avatar
like,
after Korra.
See,
because
that's
It would be so far in the future. They would want
Korra
to
got
dissociate
edgy.
all of that shit.
That-
what I'm saying.
That's
It
the
did get
best
edgy.
thing.
it got super
So
edgy.
is it like a YA novel
Yeah.
tone, not a full PG-13? Like is it in?
No, it's older.
What would you-
Legend
is
of
it
Korra
That's
has,
PG-13.
Is it PG-13 or PG?
but it has a lot.
PG-13?
Legend
There's
of Korra has
suicide
older.
Is it
in
TV?
Suicide?
Yeah, remember
When?
murder
Who?
Is it
suicide, bro.
TV-14 or,
Murder
like, what is the
suicide.
actual rating?
Who?
Okay, this
Who-
is what happens for the murder
In Legend
suicide.
of Korra. What are you talking?
Amon and his brother are escaping. Okay, one of them's waterbender. They're legit like driving on a big ass boat.
Oh,
and, like, they have these
oh
listen.
my god! Oh
they,
my,
ha-
okay, yeah.
They have
Now I
these like
remember.
electric gloves that pretty much shock, like they like shoot lightning out of your hands, pretty much.
God, I need to watch
And
that
like
again.
Amon's just like, we did it, brother. We're finally gonna win, you know. And then like his brother's like, yeah, Amon, yeah, keep talking, you crazy fuck. And like right when he does that, he opens up the gas tank and sticks like the electric fucking glove over the gas tank, and all of a sudden it just pans out and then the fucking boat
The
blows
bad
up.
guys, instead of getting like, they try to get away, but the bad guy has like a change of heart and ends up killing both of them to,
Fucking boom.
so they don't get away with it. You know what I mean?
All right.
I'm
I'm gonna take a bathroom break
yeah.
real quick, but I want you guys
to
to.
keep.
no. Also, keep, but
We'll be right
I
back
want
after
you guys
these
to
messages.
Unfiltered, talk shit on my idea. Like, why won't this work? Like, honestly, for
Oh
people
my-
who love it more than I do, like, just go unfiltered and say this is stupid as fuck. Like, I'm gonna leave the room real quick, or just.
I think nobody wants to see Aang and the gang turn dark and depressing and sad. However,
Like, holy shit! All right, he's gone.
However, you know, it would be cool to see like that gritty tone with like more detail to the world, and it's not really like. I mean, I feel like it'd be cool to see it surprising that somebody could use bending to just murder, like a serial killer almost, or
like remember that really dark episode, The Puppet Master?
That's the blood bending.
The blood bending.
That
is dark.
What if an Avatar's like a cop, and he's like solving the most like horrific crimes of like serial killer benders?
Okay.
Well, that sounds pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's actually pretty dope.
Like, but it's like a detective story where he's like trying to find out who could bend this way or who's.
And didn't they have like a creepy murderer who was a bender?
You had tons of people who was used bending for like various reasons. I mean, you saw like people would create art sculptures with bending. That's the cool part about bending is that it's so natural for everyone it's so connected to character. How would you use bending if you? Well, I mean, to be continued. Let's like pitch another idea here.
Okay. What about
what?
the Avatar after Korra?
Yeah.
See, this is where it gets messy because this, like, the technological jump from Avatar to Korra really fucking threw me off. They went from fucking they went from using flying bison to having whole automobiles, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. It going really fast. Like the season kind of built up to that fast, and honestly, it's kind of disappointing to see bending using cars and using
like what the fuck they're using lightning bending to fucking power the electrical systems of the city or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So that's kind of the thing that you have to get something. That's where the world building comes into play. As in, like, you have to have faith with the characters. Remember in Ba Sing Se, the mailing system, how they shoot mail across the.
That was in That was in
Ba Sing Se.
Omashu.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're totally right. Look at that. Yeah. With Boomy.
King Boomy.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of where the difference is from Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra is how well they took the time of the world building and the style of it.
So are you saying that they got a little lazier in Korra?
Not lazier, they just went off in a different direction because there was so much steampunk vibe into it, rather than them like thinking logically or practically about how they would use the bending and how they would develop it. Because did you feel that their evolutions in the Legend of Korra, how they were like bending so many different things, do you feel like that was like quick? Because when you see Toph learning how to metal bend, it broke your mind that people could do that.
I think it was the perfect progression because you have to think about
it just getting faster.
It being more developed. I mean, Toph realistically was like 50 years before that. It was actually pretty sick because Zalfu was like the metal colony or whatever that were all metal benders. City, that evolved pretty quick. Now that I think about it.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. When but see that's a beautiful thing. The police using the metal bending.
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful like world expansion and element to the story. So I think where do you go from there is just building it even further more. Where I guess you can get a little. I don't know. You'd have to integrate it more. You know how like people take fire to, like, I want to see glass being made, like with two benders coming together, like an earth bender and a fire bender, and then like them making glass and like making these different things. It would be cool to see them working together more now, to see them changing their world. It would be cool to see a more integrated city, like Republic City, just becoming more integrated and closely connected between the benders.
Okay, so a more globalized version of the world. It would have to be super modern because, like, if you think about the jump from Avatar to Korra, like I said, like, it was like, it went from 1800s to kind of like 1930s or 40s. So, like, the next one would have to be like a 90s or like
70s Avatar.
70s Avatar.
Picture that.
Yeah, you were gone for a while.
No, I just that was a detail I never even thought of. There's a time period.
No, well, I mean,
there's a legit is this
no.
We're just, what the fuck?
We're just messing around.
Okay.
But there is its own timeline because
Avatar literally is in the age of fucking like horse carriages.
Is it BA like before Avatar or like
no.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Kind of is. I think in like the Avatar wiki, it goes into that time.
Does it say a long time ago in a place far away?
No.
All right.
As far as like the story,
I'm drawing these linear ties, dog. I'm tying them off.
There's like before time started, then when time began, and then when there's before time, and then when the spirits roamed the earth, and then when humans like kind of started evolving.
Okay.
There's like 3 periods of time.
Oh yeah, you're right. And then the pretty much the joining of the spirit with the first human was the first avatar, right?
So our avatar powers, are they spiritual or are they like mutations?
They are
You said
spiritual.
evolved.
Well, okay. I said evolved because this is
You
kind
can
of
evolve spiritually.
this could totally be the whole religious wars or something like that. Here's a new idea. What we know is the creation story of like Avatar, but maybe there's a science element to it. You know, this is kind of controversial that it would be because it's like Star Wars where
the
you
Earth
have
is only 6,000 years old.
It is,
I'm just kidding.
what?
But it is
no,
flat.
I'm not putting out anything.
Just kidding again.
Okay, the flat Earth theory. You know how in Star Wars,
Here we go again, guys.
You know how in Star Wars there's like the spiritual element of it, and then there's the metachlorians.
I just like the idea of
Rolls eyes.
That's what Avatar. Could
New
be.
continuation is just Aang being a flat Earth theorist after his endeavors. He just really gets into conspiracy theory videos on YouTube and just falls down that rabbit hole, dude. Like that would be a 6 series as well. Like Ancient Aliens, but Aang narrating it.
Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens.
That would be okay. That would be such a downside of a waste of an Avatar.
Bro, you're acting like the one I suggested wasn't a waste.
No, it's like
we finally get a continuation series, and it's super live action, dark, gritty. They're like, fuck, and it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's my dream.
We should fail to mention that we don't support M. Night Shyamalan Avatar storytelling at all.
Zack Snyder Avatar.
Oh god.
Would you want to see a movie? Would you want to see an Avatar movie?
I don't think it can be done unless they do the Lord of the Rings style where they shoot 3 movies.
Bro,
back to
I
back
would
to back.
not
Like,
watch an
you would
Avatar
have to
movie
do it
unless it
fucking
was
right.
the
You have to
unless
take
it
your
was,
time.
You guys are. What are you saying? What's going on?
I'm saying that story is not going to be done justice ever in a 2-hour format. Ever. So if you allotted 6 hours,
yeah.
You could
but
do this.
shot them all back to back and didn't go with the cliffhanger angle, like if you didn't go with the cliffhanger style of like, and if you guys watch this, we'll make another. If they fucking just put the
You don't
you
want
could
it
do
to
it
be
for
episodic.
$500,000, shoot 3 movies, or $500 million. I'm sorry, $500 million, shoot 3 movies. That's about $80 million plus marketing for each one. That is enough of a budget to do this right, but also not go so heavy on the visual effects. These do not need to be $200 million movies at the start. Start small, make your budget back, but also if you're gonna fucking commit.
You want to see
you want to shoot them all back. Like you can't pick up that Tolkien book and be like, yeah, we're gonna do this in 1 movie. Like fuck no. They even milked The Hobbit for 3. Like that was more of a cash grab. This is rich content that you could do it with. It not feeling like filler.
You want to see Avatar, but the MCU style, where you have basically you have your Avatar stories. Is the comparative to compare it? You have the Avatar as Avengers 1, 2, and 3, and then all the little other stories are the filler episodes that you can't.
the Thor
leave
movies,
out,
the Captain America movies.
So like when Zuko, there's a moment where Zuko, the main villain, at first goes in this like spiritual quest to like find himself. You can have that be a separate movie series. While you see them, like, all the big moments and big stories happen as Avengers 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
I think that goes. I don't know, man, because it divides the
You
whole
don't want
purpose
to see a
of it.
solo movie with
Well,
Zuko?
I don't want to see a solo movie with Zuko because it's like the same reason why I don't watch Gotham with Batman. It's fucking
An Avatar story.
It's an Avatar story without the fucking Avatar.
Then why did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Because Ant-Man was actually in it.
No, I think the MCU.
The Avengers was the
you can't
big
draw.
pie.
It's not an exact like. There's issues of comic books. You know what I mean? There's issues of comic books where a villain exists and then he goes away because he put him in jail, and then the next issue is another problem, or a next run is another problem. I don't know where in that. I'm just saying that 2 hours is not going to be good when you have him learning. 3 other powers.
Hear me out.
20 minutes in, he already masters water. 20
what-
minutes in, then he has the earth person. Then 20 minutes in, then like there's the change, and then like you have the twist with the homeboy, and then he's teaching him the fire, and then at the last 20 minutes or
There you
what?
go. Okay,
Like
I'm proud of
you
you.
get what I mean though? Like
get-
you have to structure it in a normal climax format, and 2 hours is not enough.
If
And
they
you're
were gonna do an Avatar movie, they need to do it like this. They need to make it an old
Oh my God.
Avatar Aang,
Go on,
a
son.
2-hour
Go.
movie, and have it be what was the guy's name? The the guy who
Robert Zemeckis.
the bloodbender.
I don't know where this is going,
What the
man.
fuck was his name?
Amon's like
Amon's
actual
fucking
name?
dad.
Or
Although,
oh.
can we agree that if bending was real, Robert Zemeckis would only bend blood?
I don't know who Robert is.
He shot Back to the Future.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he's the director behind Back to the Future
That's a great movie.
and a lot of other films.
Okay, wait. So, we're saying how you do fire and all this in one movie.
You don't.
Hold on. What the seasons did in the show Avatar: The Last Airbender was they told it in book 1, book 2, book 3. That
Book
was
1
season
was
1.
water. Book 2 was earth.
Perfect.
Book 3 was fire.
You do that
They
for
did
the movies.
perfectly.
And I'm not saying you can't have
Yeah.
that cliffhanger. I'm saying at the end of the
No,
second
yeah.
movie, you would see him being like you would see him change, or you would see the hint of him being like, "I'll teach you," and then credits.
So,
like,
yeah,
I'll teach you
basically that.
credits. Then you get into that next film, and then it's all about him kind of learning the fire, and then having all these people come together. And I'm speaking out of tone. I haven't seen the fucking film, but I know the beats.
The show.
To where
Oh,
sorry,
you're
I haven't
talking
seen
about the movie. Oh, you're
no, I'm saying I said
Yeah.
film because I was talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
a film, but I haven't seen the show. But I do know the beats that. There's so much that you would skip,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't pay off if you were just doing one movie, and that's where I was coming from. Where
Yeah.
I would love to see a film, but I would also like them to do it
Take
from
their
a
time.
perspective and take their time. But
Yeah.
also, there's such a rich lore here.
And
that
think
if
about
you don't
exactly.
take your
You already have it all
fucking time,
established.
But it's
If you already
The
have
way
it all
money
established,
works,
just
dude.
build on what it already is.
it's like making a Venom movie,
Oh,
and then
God.
being like, "We'll make more if you see it," and it's like, "Yeah, but you don't even have."
Yeah,
Like,
if you
like
don't
this is
know
coming
where-
out of fucking nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
like
Venom
you know what I
movie
mean?
was
I haven't
trash.
Seen Venom. I haven't seen
Wow.
Venom. I actually
Okay,
haven't
that was a little too direct.
I have yet to see
I heard
it.
it's a very 90s feeling comic book movie.
It was super weird.
Early
it was
2000s.
just weird.
I heard it felt like Blade.
All right, Avatar.
Avatar.
Can we dedicate one 5-minute thing though?
No.
To
To Wolves Among Us or something?
no. I want to.
What?
Damn.
Yeah, I'm throwing
Damn,
that
that's
at you.
all, that was a good comparison. I felt like people
Wait,
would
what
be
was
like,
it?
Yeah, I love
The
it.
whole thing. Honestly, I'm really interested in it, but I have no
Yeah.
idea what it is, so I'm
That's
mad
fine,
that I
that's
don't
fine,
have.
that's
I do want to know what it is.
Okay, this is what I'm
Please
saying.
remind me. After
Okay.
this. Yeah.
I've made a lot of comparisons to Star Wars,
Oh,
and over the time,
so
I
interested
have.
right now.
Okay, we've each given our pitches, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we say that? Like, for the audience, I
I'm
want to
throwing out
spend
some ideas.
I want to spend 5 to 10 minutes of this alternate reality.
Go
okay?
for it.
Boom. There's a fucking new trilogy or new series, 3
Okay, yeah.
seasons. Okay.
New Avatar.
New Avatar.
Okay.
But it's the.
Oh.
See, that's where the Korra doesn't exist.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
just say
So we're
Korra
taking
don't
out
exist.
for this right now.
Red
Korra's
Sun.
gone.
Sequel.
This is
a
what they
sequel.
should have done.
This is 20 years later. We have existed
Okay.
with no new Avatar stuff. They come back and they're like, "Yo, we're bringing back Avatar 3 seasons on
okay.
Netflix. This guy's doing it."
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
We watch it
Okay.
and it fucking isn't. They change shit. I don't know what the equivalent to be, but you know how people reacted to The Last Jedi
Yeah.
and how they were like, "No, this is not my Force. This is not my Star Wars." Could they do that in a way where it wouldn't come across that way? Like is the fan
where
base
they did it different but right. That's what you're saying?
Is there a different but right, or does it have to be in like? Because I'm
Yes.
hearing Korra, and I'm saying there's a lot that still brings in Aang. There's a lot that still brings in etc. There's a lot that still ties itself in, but without that existing, and we love this. Is the fan base so stubborn that it couldn't be another thing? Like, would the people throw up in arms if there was, like, some change to the history where there's 2 avatars all of a sudden? Or there's, like, you know what I mean? Or, like, this person is a random-ass motherfucker, and maybe that benefits. But you get what I'm saying? Like, people don't like that Rey isn't a Skywalker. That bothers people because it's like, no, this is, like, a very condensed world. And it's like, it's a fucking galaxy. How is there not somebody out there that doesn't tie into this one group of people?
I feel like it's more so where it's like change is bad. Evolution, when you build on the ideas that are there, people like.
Okay.
So as long as you have a bridge to connect it to a new idea, then it's cool.
And as of the date of recording this, episode 9 has not come out yet. So
Yeah.
there could be something that does tie it all back to where Rey is
Yeah,
something.
so yeah,
But there
it
is
could
that
be.
scene in The Last Jedi where she's like, they were nothing.
Yeah.
They were junk traders.
And people had a
and
problem
she
with that.
says
Yeah.
that.
I had a
It's
problem
not
with
even
that.
like
Yeah.
Kylo says that. It's he says, you know what they are.
Yeah.
She's crying and she
Yeah.
says it. And it's like, whether or not he got in her mind or not, that's a
Yeah.
retcon that could apply in episode 9. So if you are hearing this in the future after episode 9, and this does, just know that we are coming from that perspective. But on a to be continued standard,
Yeah.
I definitely
can it be
think that-
continued wrong? Is
Okay,
there a
no,
right
no, no.
and wrong way, or can you have fun with it in this sandbox? Is there enough lore to where it could benefit in a lot of different ways, or does it have to always kind of tie into this lineage of what we know?
I think that, okay, you could definitely do it a different way and you could do it right. I think this is where we kind of get into that point where if you did a really, really dark version of Avatar, it would be badass.
Okay.
Like a total alternate version where
Like
you see blood a lot, you see like actual stabbing, like an Attack on Titan version.
You pretty much want to see Samurai Jack.
Yes.
Like how they did the last season.
Yeah.
That was dope.
You
We
watched
haven't
Samurai
talked
Jack?
about what?
You watched Samurai Jack?
Yeah, season 5.
We have to do a TBC.
Okay.
Anyway, a Samurai Jack because that was dope. But you would want to see pretty much a gritty Aang, but this is towards the end, not a gritty Aang because Aang still shouldn't like kill people, but he should deal with the world that's getting more
So
aggressive.
what if
So the characters can't change, but you can show change in like the tone, the city, you could have the characters change but evolve in a way that's like, yeah, I've gone pretty far away from my ways. As long as you explain. You can definitely, as long as you can explain. I feel
could a
like
future
that's-
Avatar be a killer? Or would that be like the thing that breaks
Avatars
all
have,
rules?
there's definitely been avatars who have been killers, but like
'Kay.
justly, like they had to kill for a reason. There's never been a psychotic bad.
This was a huge
Avatar.
thing in Avatar where the Fire Lord is crazy and Aang is like, I don't want to kill him. I don't want to do it this way.
Right.
So he then finds a way to take away his bending. Spoilers. Nah, I'm
But the
kidding.
thing is, he talks to all his
It's
past
things.
lives.
He talks to
all his past lives, trying to get a reason for why he shouldn't kill him. But they literally all tell him, "I killed people in my past because
Yeah.
I had to."
So there are other avatars that did kill, and the Avatar is
Is
a
that
job title. It's not you're automatically good. You're not the superhero.
Is it
It's
the
just
same
like-
person?
It's the same. It's reincarnation.
'Kay.
It's just reincarnation where like
Like
the spirit is back.
Aang's all of his former selves have been avatars. He has the power to talk to all of them and get
That
knowledge
connection,
from all of
yeah.
his former lives.
But he's
'cause
a
they were-
different person.
Yeah,
than all of
it's
them.
been girls, it's been boys, it's been firebenders, it's been waterbenders.
I think we should
everything.
get twin avatars where there's two. One can control air and water, and the other can control earth and fire. And they're not, one's good and one's bad. I think that shouldn't happen. It should be so much more where they have to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses, and kind of like a siblings learning to get together and do the job. Because it's gonna be pretty, and they could be together in the first season, introduce them and introduce the anger and rage and all that. Then they can disappear and like separate in the second season where they learn who they are, not in relation to one another, but who they are themselves. And then have the third one where they come together to do better for like the city or whatever, the world or whatever the crisis is in there. Twins
That's
avatars.
super intense.
That's
Bro,
insane.
bring that into the religious one. Watch him have different brothers have different religious views.
And the two avatars fight and unite and kind of, or not
They have
unite,
to
but
fight,
they like
and then
fight
they
each
figure
other.
out a way to live together and like coexist. Bruh, that'd be dope. That'd be dope, right?
That would be sick.
But it was cool to see a dark avatar too, where like
We've kind of seen that. There was like
there was a dark avatar in Legend of Korra.
Okay,
It
so
was
what
kinda
is the
perfect,
thing?
though.
dumb though.
What's
Okay.
one thing that they could do in the first episode of something that they continue with, and then you as like fans would just be like, "What the fuck are they doing?" Is there anything?
Anything if you change the lore drastically or if you try to retconning hurts. It hurts an audience member. Like as far as like when people found out that all the extensions in the Star Wars was like not canon anymore. It's like,
Well, something that I
spent
didn't-
my life doing
Yeah.
this. Make up your mind.
Exactly.
something
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
like about like the transition from the last Airbender to Korra
There you
was
go. That.
the jump in technology. I did not like that at first.
We
I was
talked a
like,
little
it
bit
just,
about
it just
that. But yeah.
doesn't seem Avatar. Like there shouldn't be cars. There shouldn't be
With Legend of
flying
Korra,
machines.
they start building robots and cars and stuff like that. But then you forget, hey, they can just an Earthbender can just move to point A by point B by moving the ground. He doesn't even have to walk. He could just like, and then just like move across the dirt. Or an Airbender can fly. Like, why don't they do that in the world? But no, they drive cars and they operate big robots.
That's
It's
weird.
kind of like.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It was.
No,
That
exactly.
just sounds
You
weird,
asked
yeah.
for something that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
No, that
and that's
sounds
something
like-
that doesn't. And it's not make sense. It's just.
And
yeah.
that totally cut ties for there couldn't be a sequel to Korra because how much more advanced would it get? Then it would have to be literally in modern times. There's
Star Wars.
iPhones and
Star Wars.
A space avatar. Oh my god. He can bend the stars. And
A space bender.
what about a gas
Literally,
bender?
okay.
Oh, alien invasion gas benders like come in and they start
Could they
moving,
ever?
like, elements.
Could they ever introduce another bending type in the future series? Like, could that be the crux?
Depends on how, you know.
Like, so far in the future that there's another
Space
bender,
turtle.
a time bender.
a time bender. Ooh, dude. Yeah.
What did you say? That'd be funny.
Space bender.
I feel like if you disregard the lore, then you're like kind of ticking off audience
Okay.
members.
Soul bender.
But I mean, I feel like, you know, at least me, a fan, want to see evolutions on things. You know, I want to see them do more. And
I feel like the idea of evolutions was fulfilled when they did like the more advanced versions of bending, like metal and lava. And
yeah, but I feel
That's
like it
kind of
was
evolution.
unearnest though, because they didn't really. Well, I mean, you said this, that they kind of, you know, it makes sense for them to start as time moves on and more people like populate and challenge ideas and grow. It's just like how we have technology, just, you know, coming out with the next iPhone, you know, maybe you'll get 2 a year instead of 1 a year or whatever. That could be a problem that the avatar would solve, you know, people not needing the avatar, people growing up. Like, I don't know,
that was one of the interesting thoughts that you brought up before was Legend of Korra was pretty much like introduce you that like the world really doesn't need the avatar.
So
like
what does the avatar do?
What does it do? Like it eventually would turn into like a figurehead where it's just kind of like the Pope, you know, like doesn't really like
Religious wars. No.
didn't do much, but like it has a
So,
face, it has
like,
a
for
voice, you
religious
know,
wars,
like
yeah.
it's supposed
Yeah, I
to be
gotcha.
upheld to a certain standard,
Yeah.
you know.
But then you can have an avatar just like trying to find out where they fit into a world that is growing and developing and changing. So kind of that old person, like kind of dealing with, not old person, but, you know, someone
getting with the times.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Captain America, man. Like, you know, what does Captain America do in a world that doesn't need Cap? You know?
Yeah.
Just chills.
Is that because that's
Dances with Peggy.
This is where we get into that dark PTSD, gritty, stubble full of intensity, man. End of watch. Let's go.
Full Metal Jacket,
Yeah,
Captain
Full-
America.
Shit.
Okay, this was a long time ago, but it would be cool to see a soldier avatar, like leading a charge of like special ops benders, and they kind of like not dismantle countries, but maybe it's like you could see like a modern day warfare.
Where's that
Like
from?
Avatar.
Like the
Yeah.
the people who.
So maybe you could do like a Cold War, but with the Avatar, and like you could have Avatar spies and things like that.
Dude, I really liked your idea of having the twin avatars with
Yeah, man.
different halves.
I don't think that's
different
the
halves,
one.
and they
I
have
think
to like
that's the one.
complete each other.
I think that's the
think
one.
that's the
That'd be
one.
cool.
Nice,
we
pretty cool.
discontinued it.
Yeah.
Except for mine, of course.
Well,
Yeah,
folks,
yours is pretty.
it looks like we're kind of running short on time.
We
Oh
go
my,
as long as we
dude.
want.
Yeah,
I ain't got shackles.
He's a time
I-
bender.
Time bender.
We made this shorter than you
Bends our
guys
time
even
limit.
noticed. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That'd be
I think honestly we went into a lot of different places that this shit
Yeah.
could go, serious or not. But I think that was
I feel like the show, you don't have to depend on the characters. It's just more the premise and the world
The lore.
that it is. Yeah.
The lore, exactly.
It is really rich.
The
Like,
world has been built.
everything you look into it, even from an outsider's
Yeah.
perspective, is like, damn, there's
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
there's all
going
that.
on,
Yeah,
man.
there's that.
There's
There's
shit
this
going
and
on,
that.
man.
I just loved how you kept guessing stuff and we're like, what if this happened? I'm like,
It was
that
alright.
fucking did happen, man.
Quality
Dude.
storytelling.
How'd you know?
Star Wars.
Real quick before we end this off, exactly. Before we end this off, are there any other like mediums that you would want to see like the Avatar in? So we talked a little about movies, and I think we talked more about games. Is there any like other ones, or do you want to see those? And like, would you want to see a Batman Arkhamverse of the like avatars, or would you want to see
I would love that.
Street Fighter version, or
All right.
would
so
you want to see? Or it
I
doesn't
want
have
to know
be
what
video.
it's like to bend.
I have a problem
Oh,
with.
I'm sorry. What's going
No,
on?
no, yeah. I mean, there's a
No,
lot going
right?
on.
Yeah.
Got an
My
issue?
dog ran away. My fish
Here's a
swam away. Fish fucking swam away, dude. I don't know.
It was
I let him
time.
go in this lake. I like took him for a swim, and he just swam like he literally swam away. Like
You know, I walked
just
my
kept
cat and then
going.
I went my fish in a river. You know.
No, but fuck. I have a problem with taking like other existing properties
Yeah.
and then trying to retell the story through a video game.
So you're okay.
But I'm still stuck on there should be a video game of some sort. Rest in peace to Telltale.
I
Rest in
thought
peace
you
to
liked
Telltale.
Spider-Man, though.
I do.
Ooh.
That's a completely different story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like-
you want new? Yeah.
Like it would have to be one of the ideas that we said, and then that story is being told through a video game, and I'd be all for it. but I don't want like season 1 through 3 being retold. Like I don't want to
hate that idea,
replay.
too.
I don't want to replay anything that already exists.
Because that's what's gonna happen in the Netflix is just gonna be a live action of, and you're always gonna be like, nostalgia factor where you're like,
100%.
But you know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why narrative games, like when they're tied to a property, like if there was a Venom, like that's why they don't exist anymore. Like in the past, this is super gamesy, but like in the past like 8 years, we've seen the AA section of video games go away, and that's through like the THQ games, or like these are games that tied into like you would have Iron Man 2 come out and there would be an Iron Man 2 game. That doesn't exist anymore, really. Yeah. It doesn't, like, because there's no point. They're fucking stupid.
Oh, they come out too quick. It takes too long to make a video game.
But you're also, why are you spending the money for like just to tell the story of a movie? Lesser, like not even as good. But
that's a good idea.
Rest in peace to Telltale, but Telltale Games is a studio that came about. They got really popular with the Walking Dead games. They made Game of Thrones games. They made
I like the Batman and the Guardians. Like, I watched those.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird. I watched them on YouTube.
No, that's the best version.
I don't.
of
Okay,
it.
can you
all you're doing is
bring me up
selecting-
to date? What is it exactly?
So what they did is they took like point and click adventures, like those old school like narrative like
you
Oregon
choose the
Oregon
ending.
Trail.
This is
like remember how Oregon Trail would be like da. What are you gonna do? Like, and then like you like read it, and then it'd be like click, and then it'd be like Johnny died of poison ivy, and you're like, fuck, I picked the wrong one, or like whatever. It's that type of thing where there's a bunch of different branching story storylines, but the point of the game isn't to fight. Like you're like there was fighting in the Batman version.
You just enjoy the story.
It's story driven. Like they take liberties with their own worlds, and then they go and tell a story. That studio literally just shut down. Like they went bankrupt a month ago. So like they canceled the Walking Dead season. Like they had season 5 coming out, and it's episodic. So like they'll put out episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like they'll release them all together. Literally like Walking Dead season 5, episode 1 came out, and then that studio went bankrupt and then was gone. And then the person who owns the Walking Dead IP or created it on the comic book side, Robert Kirkman, he owns a game studio that basically is bankrolling to finish the fucking story. Yeah. So that game will come out, but Telltale is gone. But I would honestly, 100% if you took any of these premises, maybe not like on the darker side, but if you take any of those premises and then apply it to a point and click adventure, like with the narrative where you are a separate avatar or a separate character in the future, and you are going through this certain dilemma, and you're meeting all these people and having these storylines, like that would work. And then the other thing would be a fighting.
Your Aang and the Gang story would be perfect for Telltale because then you can finish off the story, and you can still feel like you're a part of the world.
3 month section of his life. You're just getting more about.
The best part about it is that you already have all your world built. That's what I love.
Zuko finding the mother. That's like all. That is exactly how you could. Well,
those
that's
are all,
the most realistic way to continue.
I would
story.
say so, without pissing people off.
And those were all explored in like the after comics, right?
There were comic books after the show, Avatar: The Last Airbender, that explains a lot of the missing plot points, like what happens to Toph parents, what happens to Zuko's mom, and stuff. But if you played it as a Telltale story, that would be really fun because you still get that mystery element, and it's not a comic. It's like you feel more involved in the story.
It feels like an actual continuation of the show.
And this is literally the first time in history where it just
just
doesn't happen. Like it can't happen anymore because that company doesn't exist. So it's like from the gaming industry perspective, if you are a company out there, a publisher, like that whole lane of games is now being vacated. Yeah. So now is kind of the time to be looking at series such as The Last Airbender, such as these other things, and being like, we can take these IPs and apply this type of story. We could probably make it for maybe like $20 million. You could probably bankroll that thing, turn it out in a year and a half, get all these people paid. You'd make your money back. I guarantee if you did it.
Nostalgia, name, brand, you're in it with the audience, and then all you have to do is tell the stories of the pre-lude comics that are already there.
But don't retell the same story. And like that's where the Telltale shit.
The involvement that you're playing as would make you feel like so real, because the prelude, like, you can add a lot more to a Telltale series than you can do with a comic.
Right.
Like, a comic's so small, and you can adapt that. And so, like, not small, but there's a lot of room to change.
Mm-hmm.
I
think the interactive version of video games would really lend to this type of story, too. Because it's so lore-heavy that, like, even just the environmental storytelling. Like, what if you went to a very famous, like, landmark, and then there's, like, remnants of, like, a fight that occurred in Last Airbender, and you see that, like... I don't know whether it'd be like
the big hole in the wall in Bossing
Set. Yeah, like what if you like saw that and you're just like, I know what that is. but it also doesn't alienate someone who doesn't. You know what I mean? But like also has those
Small
little
Easter
things. Like, there's
eggs.
so many little things in video games why I love them so much is that the storytelling is different because you can literally like walk over and see a diary page and that tells you about someone who existed in that same piece of setting that you are playing at the moment as the character that you are playing.
Yeah.
And it tells you this entry from March of 20 years ago.
Exactly.
And you're like, wait, dude, like there's
read
other
this
shit.
part, yeah.
It makes the world feel real.
Yeah.
Like there's other people involved. I'm not just the only guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was The Last of Us had the best.
This is making me
environmentals.
sad because I wish this was a real thing.
Right.
Like,
And it
it's
could
like,
happen.
'cause I
It could
want-
happen.
Super sad.
Like I said, we're gonna see a company
man.
come in and start making those type of games now that doesn't exist. You just got to figure out a better business model because that's why they went bankrupt.
Because I mean, frankly, I was watching on YouTube because I just
like,
wanted to
how did
watch
they
it, so-
even? You'd have to pay per episode, or
It's
so what
kinda
they
like that,
did
yeah.
is like you would buy the season pass, so it'd be like $25, and then you would get them as they get released.
Yeah.
So, or you could buy them a la carte for like $10 each, but it was always like more
A waste,
beneficial.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like
feel like yeah.
that
I mean,
business model works.
that's the
but
best part. I just hope people don't fear away from it. I hope they build on that because that's that's potential for a good idea. Where first is the worst, second is the best. If that was a good idea for a
think-
model and they found their problems and stuff. So if someone builds upon that, they could really deliver
Right.
something
100%.
really nice.
Fuck.
All right.
There's a lot of ways you can continue this shit. That's for
Because
sure.
it's the world. All right.
There's a lot in there.
well,
Fuck.
wow.
Sorry if I
Lot-
pissed anybody off.
Why doesn't he just watch it? Honestly,
That's
a
the
great
top
idea.
comment.
The dark thing, I don't think we would have gone to.
I like the dark. Yeah,
Because I wouldn't have turned like dark, but
I don't give a
wanna see
shit what
buddy cop.
happens. You know what I mean? Like
end
that's
of
Dark
Watch,
at this
Lord
moment.
of the Avatar.
I would love to see just a one-off episode of two metal bender cops or two cops end of watch style, but in the Avatar world.
Yeah, not even like the.
What if they
Oh shit.
What about an Avatar story? Gosh, an Avatar story, but it's not where the Avatar is the main character. It's like these two
We
cops.
talked about this.
We did.
Yeah.
Where the Avatar is not the main story, but you
I think
got
I said
two-
does he have to be the main?
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
well,
no, we're good though. Because
it'd be cool to
honestly
just take
though,
that perspective.
I like the idea
for
of
like
cops.
one episode. Yeah, no, it was like when they did that kind of that vignette series where it was like stories of Ba Sing Se, remember? And there was like one episode all about Toph getting like.
Yeah, you could do a lot of
You
little.
know,
Well, I'm
those-
thinking. Well, yeah. I'm
But
thinking of a new story where
if-
yeah.
Would the cops be just normal dudes? Because I really like the idea
No,
of
they
like
got to be metal benders, right?
I like the idea of
One
them
shouldn't,
not
one
having
shouldn't.
any powers,
Okay,
and they're
yeah.
responsible for still regulating the rules to people with powers. Like it's just one of the best jobs a normal dude could have, but it's
Yeah.
also
The hardest
shitty
thing.
as fuck. 'cause
Like,
you
okay,
gotta,
do you remember that show Powerless?
Yeah.
Like the
yeah.
same
I didn't
exact
watch
thing.
it, but I
was
remember
watching
the
it.
idea of it.
Yeah.
But okay, that's a great idea to have two people who, let's say, they don't bend in an all bending world, and they're two cops, and they find themselves in this big old mystery and
formatted
conspiracy loop.
in an Always Sunny in Philadelphia type comedic tone.
Or just listen to twist. You're on a plot
That's like my
twist.
FX
Yeah.
stuff.
That would be. I mean, still that would be cool to have that. You could do that.
Or like an unlikely
What about
Bond.
a sitcom, almost like
Sitcom buddy cop, yeah.
two of the worst
Brooklyn
cops.
Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Shit.
Two of the worst cops.
Yeah. They. Oh my God. Yeah.
What is it?
Like a sitcom.
The other
just
guys.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but you got the other guys. You have the two worst non-bender. You have two non-benders. Everyone else in the police department is benders.
The first episode, the guy he's going after gets away, and then as the police captain's like, "Why the fuck did you let him get away?" He's like, "He can bend the earth. I can't." Of course he got away, boss.
The end of the moment, there's a whole big yelling, and then they go off and they cry or whatever. The ending, the captain sits down with them and says, "Look, I know how you feel, but you can't make these excuses. You took up this badge. It is your responsibility, no matter what obstacle faces your way.
And
All right,
that's
get out there, Sonny."
Sarge, what the fuck?
That's such a. That's the Always Sunny. I fucking fell. My bad. But I'm just saying that would be the perfect pilot, and then the rest of the shit, you just know they're probably never gonna catch anybody. But it's more.
Well, it would be cool to see that the Avatar is not the most important character in the world, but it would be so you have one episode where those two. I want to draw this now. There's two, the cops. They find the Avatar. The Avatar is coming down to their city, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's the Avatar. He's not so tough. We probably take him. We have no bending. How do you think we're gonna take
We
the
have
Avatar?"
You cocky bastard.
but they end up like needing the help of the Avatar to like solve, or they have to save the Avatar.
There's something so cool about
kind
a
of a good
normal
idea.
dude in the world
Yes.
of like,
Benders.
and it would have to, if this show actually existed,
What?
they would have to come through and save somebody that like they shouldn't, like
I know,
like the
they're
whole
the-
time they're just like, you can't do it, you
Dude,
are
the-
not in a like you're fucking over there. Like we don't care like what you say, like even if you have the best idea, we're gonna say we made it up because we're benders. Like there's some real pressure on these normal dudes that like they're just not accepted.
What
in
if their
society.
proudest moment is taking down a child who can earthbend? They're like, we got one, we got
Yes!
it. Yes,
Three-year-old.
They're, like, dancing.
They're all in his
Like,
face like, what? Try me again. Earthbenders ain't got shit on me.
You start seeing like the crowd throw rocks at them, like, "Hey, we're doing our job." It's like, "Kid, it's hard, okay?" And that is
God.
okay. That's funny.
What do you bend? Justice.
Like feelings.
That's at the end when they gain their confidence.
The Justice Bender.
Oh, I'm a justice
That's-
bender.
that's-
oh shit.
That's what should be on Netflix, man.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
Fuck. I mean, that just shows just how
better,
rich
yeah.
everything is. Like, there's so much in there. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think would be the best way to continue it. How would you continue it?
Email us at the podcast, or what is
the
it?
podcast at gmail.com. We got that domain. We
no,
paid
The To Be
No,
Continued
please
podcast,
the
right?
To Be Continued podcast at gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Please, folks, we'd love to hear from you.
And soon
And
we'll
we'll-
get a Twitter handle and all that nonsense or whatever we decide. And
If
we
anybody
can have some
wants
DMs.
to draw these characters or stories or write a little more fan
Yeah.
fiction or something like that, and if you don't want to send an email, then just like honestly, you can put it in the mail, send it to us at To Be Continued is the address at To Be Continued, and you can send it to 31805 Temecula Parkway,
Temecula,
Suite 202
Oh.
is our
like P.O. Box.
yeah.
Nice.
Send it to that and we'll check it out.
Yeah, anything you guys want to send? Or, I like LaCroix.
Cool.
You want to send it?
Excellent. Well, I've been Jake,
I've been Garrett.
I've been there.
and we've been To Be Continued.
I don't
Have a great
anything
night,
cool to
folks.
say.
Oh, shit. Fuck.
Hey, no sponsors. This is a great